Hello, hello. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. It's following Pundit's Pundit. We have ourselves a stacked show. You're going to have a lot of information. If you bother to listen and watch this twice, I'll give you a lot of reasons why you should, because this show is loaded. Okay, so with that said, let me introduce the crew real quick. To my left, Candy Ebling. Welcome back, Can.
Thanks. Good to be here.
To my right, and since I'm the monkey in the middle anyways, I got Jeremy B.
Evening.
And Jacob Christner, who's keeping a low profile in Atlanta. So when I can see him even a little bit more, then it'll be good. Otherwise, he's going to be keeping himself a low profile. How you doing, Jacob?
Man, not bad. Great pundit tonight. Great pundit. I missed you, JB. I was to have you on. That was a great show.
Yeah, we definitely hit some interesting topics for sure. Then again, we do, for some reason, these topics are a little bit more interesting than most. Okay, but I won't elaborate on that. And JB Ellis, my partner in crime, as the two heads of both of our networks. Welcome back, JB.
What's going on? How we doing tonight?
All right. Well, folks, I want you to go out there and realize that rapid fire is the name of this game. I have an awful lot of topics. We have about 50 some minutes to do it, but we're going to do it. I want to make sure that everybody's ready for the NFL draft and reasons beyond they'll ever understand. So let's get this bad boy started. So we're going to lead off, though, with the sports town of the week. On a scale of 1 to 10, okay, Smoking Jeremy, go ahead and tell me where you think Charlotte stands.
You talking about the Panthers?
No, I'm talking about the sports town of the week, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm going to have to give it about a 6.
Okay, why?
They don't. It's just weird. I don't see it big like some of the other cities that have multiple sports. I mean, the Hornets are the Hornets.
Right, exactly. Then you have the Panthers. And then you have the Charlotte Knights. Of course, when I had Rick Curdy on last night, he gave it a 9, but I wouldn't have expected anything else anyway. So, Candy, what are your thoughts about Charlotte, North Carolina, 1 to 10?
I'd say probably about a 7.5. I mean, I think a lot of people are transplants that go to Charlotte. So I don't know if there's a lot of true, actual Charlotte fans in Charlotte. Well, do I think they can support? Yes. But do I think they're actually fans of the Charlotte teams? I'm not quite convinced.
Well, having lived there, you're right. So I won't debate that. I'll actually give it a 7.5 too. Over to Jacob, who's 4 hours away from there. Charlotte, 1 through 10. What do you think?
7.5, 8. You go to Charlotte to avoid Atlanta traffic. But no, the biggest issue that we have with Charlotte, I mean, it's not really the big thing. It's the fact that you got to wait for them to get – when they're really good, when these teams are really good, everything is kind of like the 85 Bears. You put all the banners up. You put everything up. But the thing is, unlike the Bears, when things are going poorly, like they were 3-14 last year, when things are really poor, then they still have at least a banner of a Justin Fields or whoever they would want up. They still support. Charlotte will put it down. So it's like I'll say 7.5, 8 because they really fill the stadiums. But I can't say 10 because they do not, they don't support enough when the things go bad.
Okay, and last but not least, JB Ellis.
8.5. You have, forget about the Hornets and the Panthers. What about NASCAR? We forgot about that's the headquarters. Right. College basketball. You have Duke and North Carolina right there. You have always the NCAA tournament there. 8.5 easy.
Okay. All right, let's segue to the next topic, which happens to be in Carolina. So we're going to talk about the NFL draft. Again, round the horn, answers concise, but make sure you get your points out. What should the Carolina Panthers, coached by Frank Reich, do with the number 1 pick in the draft? You think they should go the quarterback, Jeremy?
Yes, and the rumor is they are thinking about taking Will Levis over Bryce Young.
Okay. JB?
Definitely a quarterback, but what I would do, I would go after Lamar. Everybody should be going after Lamar. I don't get it. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob.
Absolute agreement with that. It's like, if you're going to go get anyone, I'm going to go Bryce Young. I mean, myself, as far as Will Levis, everybody's seeing me on social media with it. Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, They are the product of ridiculously awesome agents that somehow pop them up there, and they know how to use social media to pop everything up. And so it's like there's nothing to them that's ever going to make them that good to begin with. So, I mean, to me, Bryce Young, or let's just go with Lamar Jackson.
So are you saying Lamar Jackson or Bryce Young?
I'm just saying Bryce Young if you're going draft, but if nothing else, go for Lamar. Go after it. Because I want Lamar in Chicago myself anyway, so I want everybody to go after him.
Okay. But meanwhile, collegiately, you're saying Bryce Young, right?
Yes.
Okay, good enough. Candy.
CJ Stroud.
Okay.
Quarterback.
Mr. 18.
Okay. All right, and I'll just say Bryce Young. I really believe that they should go after him. I don't think that Bryce Young's the type of quarterback that Frank Reich is used to. He's used to a much taller target, which is why I probably believe that what Jeremy is actually saying might have more truth with Will Levis because he's a lot bigger as well. So I'm going to go Bryce. All right, next topic. We're going to go rapid fire, okay? Do the Houston Texans take a quarterback at number 2 or go safe with a foundational defensive player? Jeremy.
Rumor is the Patriots are trying to trade up to 2 and give them Mac Jones and swap first-round picks.
Oh.
That's the rumor that was busted out on the Pat McAfee show today.
Oh, of course it was.
All right.
Oh.
All right, well, save your okay, because JBL might have one even better than you. You heard the question.
Yeah, don't do anything with Mac Jones. Take a quarterback, Anthony Richardson. That's who you want. He's going to be the guy. You're not winning this year. He's the guy for the future. That's the guy you want.
Okay. All right, now you can go through your routine, Jacob.
Oh, Mac Jones. If you want to see just how bad he is, get him away from Bill Belichick. If you really want to see how bad he is, because he was on a leash the whole time. But myself, I'm telling you this. I'm gonna go a little different from a lot of people. I'm going to say go with an offensive guy to take Davis Mills one more year, have yours, and then go for a quarterback next year. Because by itself, I'm not fond of Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. I'm really not. And there's going to be. And by the way, guess who's going to be taken? You get my point? I mean, Bryce Young's going to be taken, and all the other guys are going to be taken. It's Carolina. So I'd rather just go offensive line, try to get better there, and then to go for a quarterback next year.
Candy?
Well, Keegan says it for me. I think they're going to go defense because I think they're going to go out and get Treylance.
That's interesting. All right. I'll tell you what. If you're the Houston Texans, go defense. I don't think there's a quarterback worth taking at number 2. I really don't. Unless Bryce Young falls in your lap, I say you go defense. The Texans have been in this situation before where I believe they've taken a defensive player as a foundational player. Hyde. And who 2? All right, give me the answers, Jeremy.
J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney.
There you go. So it's not like there isn't a history of them taking defensive players at the top spot. So, yeah, if I were the Texans, I'd go ahead and go defense. All right. As we continue on here. Boy, this is a lot of fun. I guarantee, folks, you will learn a lot. So take notes. And if you don't take notes quick enough, listen again. Who cares? We're getting you ready for tomorrow night. Okay. With that said, according to Sports Illustrated, the past 10 years, okay, we'll talk about the biggest draft bust. So in this part of the show here, okay, I'm going to read every one of them off, and every one of you can go ahead and just pick one, okay? And I'm going to go over the years from 2014 all the way to 2021. So pay attention. We're going rapid fire. In 2014, Cleveland with the number 22 pick took Johnny Manziel. 2015, Tampa at the number 1 pick, Jameiswinston. 2015, Tennessee, number 2, Marcus Mariota. 2016, Philly, number 2, Carson Wentz. 2017, this probably is painful for you, Jacob. Chicago, number 2,
Not at all.
Trubisky. Okay.
Not one bit. We actually won ball games.
All right, that's okay. Let me finish. 2018, New York Jets, number 3, Sam Darnold. 2021, New York Jets. Okay. You have Zachwilson, although he could be salvaged with Aaron Rodgers edition. Okay. And then 2021, San Francisco 49ers, number 3, Treylance. Okay, we'll continue around the way I've been doing all day. Give me one choice, Jeremy B. Which one are you going with?
What was that first one in 2014?
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, that's it. That
Okay.
is it for me. Out of that list, because Treylance hasn't even played 2 years of ball, let alone a year.
Okay. All right. Next, JB.
Johnny Manziel, the Johnny Moxon of the NFL.
Yeah. Okay. Jacob.
I'm going to give you a name that's not on the list. Kevin White for the Bears. You brought up Trubisky, but Trubisky won a little over 60% of his games.
Yeah, I'm talking about the actual.
Okay, well, we'll say Manziel, but I was bringing up White because he was a number 7 for the Bears.
Okay.
And yeah, he had 2 of his biggest games came off of 1 catch for a Hail Mary, both times.
Okay.
So he was an oft injured. So to me, that's the biggest bomb.
Fair enough. Candy.
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going Johnny Manziel too. Talk about a big bust in a lot of ways. And they didn't even want him in Canada. Go figure that. In my other country, yes. Oh, Canada. All right. I had to get that out. I got it on Pundit, so I got it here too. All right. As we continue on, this is actually a pretty interesting one here. NFL and NFL legacy. Who is the greatest undrafted player in NFL history? I love this list. Okay. Same format. Kurt Warner of the Rams, Justin Tucker of the Ravens, John Randall of the Vikings, Warren Moon of the Houston Oilers, James Harrison of the Steelers, Tony Romo of the Cowboys, Antonio Gates of the Chargers, and Vinatieri of the Patriots/Colts. All right, Jeremy.
Wow, that's a tough list. You kind of, man, it's either got to be Vinatieri or the very first one you mentioned, Kurt Warner.
Okay.
Just because of what he did in that season when he was bagging groceries the year before.
Right. All right, you're going Warner. J.B. Ellis.
Warren Moon. Was there a better quarterback during his era than Warren Moon?
Okay.
Not really.
Jacob.
I love Warren Moon, but it's like I love Warren Moon, and that's absolute, and that's a complete truth. But how many people? I mean, Warner had 10 years, and he gets to 3 Super Bowls. That's 30% of your career, and he was in the playoffs 6 different times. So that's 60% of your career. Now, it's such a short time for his thing, even with injuries and even with bombing out again, and he still came back. So I'm going to go Warner, but I do love Warren Moon.
Okay, fair enough. Candy?
Kurt Warner.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to go Warren Moon, but I'm going to get Brandon Powell honorable mention out of Deerfield Beach High School here in my neck of the woods. Obviously landed a job with the Lions, and he subsequently got reunited with Matt Stafford in Los Angeles. And when they were doing Zoom calls for that Super Bowl, I had a chance to talk to the brand man. And I also talked to him when he was with the Lions against the Dolphins. So I'm going to go Warren Moon as well, but Brandon Powell gets honorable mention. Now, this is just a fact, so nobody has to answer it. It's just a piece of information. According to the 33rd team, notable non-first-round picks from the 2013, 10 years ago. And when I say non-first-round picks, this is really mainly geared toward Friday and Saturday. So this is why you want to watch it. In round 2, Zach Ertz, 35. You have Darius Slay, 36. Geno Smith, 39. Robert Woods, 41. Again, mind you, this is from the 2013 draft. And then Le'Veon Bell at 48. Let's go over to round 3. Traviskelce, 63 overall. Tyrann Mathieu, 69. Terron Armstead at 75. Keenan Allen at 76. Logan Ryan at 83. Let's go to rounds 4 and 7. Candy ought to be familiar with this one. David Bakhtiari, round 4, 109. Kyle Juszczyk. Okay, great job there with that name. Trying to figure that out. But Kyle, we'll call him KJ. Round 4, 130. Round 5, Micah Hyde, another one Candy should be familiar with, 159. Round 6, Ryan Jensen, 203. And round 7, Jordan Poyer, 218. So if you're looking for a reason to watch the draft, okay, on Friday and Saturday, I gave you plenty of them there. So let's go on to the next one, okay? According to the 33rd team, the last 10 number 2 overall picks. Now, this is a very interesting list. I'm going to ask everybody to go out there and talk about these. In 2013, you had Luke Jekyll. Then you had 2014, Greg Robinson, Marcus Mariota, Carson Wentz in 2016, QB. Obviously, 2017, we have Mitchell Trubisky. 2018, Saquon Barkley. 2019, Nick Bosa, the defensive end. 2020, Chase Young, who's not going to have his fifth-year option renewed. 2021, Zach Wilson. And 2022, we have Aiden Hutchinson. All right, so of that group, Jeremy, give me the best one.
Wow, for me, it's Aiden Hutchinson. I'm sorry.
I'll be sorry. Okay. JB.
Gotta love Aiden Hutchinson.
Do you? Okay.
One of the best.
Love Aiden Hutchinson, but we've missed one as far as the 7th rounder, dead last, Brock Purdy.
You said second pick overall, right?
No, I was talking about 7th. We said 4th and 7th round.
I'm talking about second pick overall. So, I mean, you know the list, or you want to go over them again?
Oh, no. We could get it. I was just saying I heard 4th and 7th round, and I thought it was.
No, that was a prior segment.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
He's rapid firing it, Jacob. Come on.
I'm rapid firing, something you're not used to seeing. Okay.
Right. But Aiden Hutchinson, we'll go with that.
Candy?
Aiden, I think, has been the most influential and made the most impact, I think, out of all of them to the team that he went to.
Yeah, I got to go Aiden Hutchinson. I thought when the Jacksonville Jaguars got the number 1 pick, they were going to go ahead and pick the guy. And all of a sudden, they obviously liked Trayvon Walker, and the Lions got Aiden Hutchinson, and the Lions people couldn't get up to the podium fast enough, much to the dismay of the NFL, because they got it up there so fast. So it's pretty clear cut for me, Aiden Hutchinson. I think if you were looking for honorable mention in this list, if there is such a thing, Nick Bosa. But other than that, the rest of this group is
no Bosas. We're not in all the Bosas.
Right. Yeah, but I'm going Aiden Hutchinson. All right, now this should be a little bit easier for everybody. Okay, the top 10 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Okay, I've got 10 of them. Patrick Mahomes, number 10 of Kansas City. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers, number 24 to Green Bay. Ben Roethlisberger, number 11, Pittsburgh. Eli Manning, well, that's an interesting one. 4-5, Chargers, Giants. Okay, well, he forced his way out of that. And going the other way, Phillip Rivers, 5-4, Chargers, Giants, Chargers. Now we have old Cam Newton, number 1 of Carolina. Matthew Stafford, number 1 of the Lions. Matt Ryan, number 3 of Atlanta. Lamar Jackson, number 32 of Baltimore. And Josh Allen, number 7, Buffalo. All right, well, we'll do it again. And this time, since we're doing well on time, you can elaborate on this one, everybody. So, all right, Jeremy.
3 Super Bowls attended, 2 won. It's got to be Pat Mahomes.
Yep.
Okay. JB?
Biggest steal, I'm not gonna go with the best, obviously Mahomes, but the biggest steal, the Ravens getting Lamar Jackson. I'll never forget the trade. I was driving. The Giants had the number 2 pick in the next round. I almost drove off the highway because I said, we're finally going to get the quarterback to replace Eli. And then the Patriots did the unthinkable and screwed the Giants, but don't worry. We had the upper hand, beating them in 2 Super Bowls.
So who are you going with?
Lamar Jackson.
Okay. Jacob?
I got to go with Mahomes. I mean, the thing is, I love the 2 Super Bowls by Eli, but those were the big moments, clutch moments by itself. He just hasn't had the same consistency that a Mahomes has had in the first place. So I'm gonna go Mahomes, no question.
Candy?
You guys could probably guess who I'm gonna say, even though
Aaron Rodgers.
He's just traded, but he has how many MVPs, and he's been in the league how long? And he was the 24th pick. He was not the first pick of the draft. He was not the 10th pick of the draft. He was the 24th. I think he's made the big – I mean, Mahomes obviously has had great success. Don't get me wrong. Lamar Jackson too. But I think Rodgers has changed a lot on the team for the Packers. And I know he's switching to the Jets. We'll see how well he does with the Jets.
All right, and last but not least, me. Well, you know what? I got to go Patrick Mahomes. But I got to give a little bit of love to Matthew Stafford, who took the beating that he did in Detroit and still got him to the playoffs a few times. And when he did finally get to a place he could win, he finally got his one Super Bowl. And the Lions are going to probably make out because of that, because of what their draft situation is, knowing that, they leased the Rams for a few picks, got a suitable quarterback, and Jared Goff as well. So I like Jared Goff. He seems to have done well for the Lions. And, of course, you're netting some draft capital. So, yeah, I'll definitely go Mahomes, but I'm going to give Matthew Stafford a little love for honorable mention. It's only honorable mention. All right. Well, as we continue to go on, this one's just a fact. But you know what? I'm going to let everybody comment on this one. The most seasons with a team by a quarterback in NFL history. We all know about Tom Brady, 20, New England before he joined Tampa. Ben Roethlisberger, 18 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He never left. Aaron Rodgers, 18 with Green Bay. Now he's with the Jets. And Jimhart, that's a name I don't know how many you remember.
Oh, yeah.
18 with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he ended up going to the Washington Redskins. So any comments on any of these, Jeremy?
Good for their longevity, great for their teams, because that means that's one less thing they had to worry about. But, Ben probably should have hung it up after year 16.
Okay.
Just my opinion.
No, that's fine. JB?
Different time, different contract structures. It was easy to be a long-time quarterback back then. You didn't have the salary caps like you have now. Now, if you look at teams that make it, the rookie salary cap is the key. So, it's not the same. You're not going to get a guy that'll stick around as long, that doesn't give back money like a Tom Brady.
Jacob?
Giving me the Jimhart memories. My dad used to talk about, because we lived in 2 hours from St. Louis, South Central Illinois. And so he actually met Jimhart once or twice. So it's kind of fun to get that name. But we're never going to see it. JB's right. We're never going to see this again, because if college players if we're hearing 5 of them a day going through the transfer portal, why in the world would pros even stay? And why would they? So we're not going to see that ever again. And it's like, we're literally talking about the possibility of Lamar Jackson getting traded, maybe. We're talking about that, which would have been unheard of even 2 years ago. Congratulations to the longevity. Never again.
I agree. All right, Candy?
You don't see longevity in coaches anymore, except for Mike Tomlin. So you're not going to see it in the quarterbacks, because I think a lot of them stick with coaches that they like. That's one of the reasons why Rodgers is real happy to be back with Nathaniel Hackett. Granted, Nathaniel stunk it up in Denver, but as an offensive coach, he gelled with Rodgers. I think you won't see the longevity because of the money. They're all out, and I've said this on how many different shows. We've become a me society, and you want to get paid now as much as you can, because you're not guaranteed tomorrow. You can get hurt very easily. So,
all right, the one guy that intrigues me on this list probably is Tom Brady more than any. Number one, you talk about another guy who you're going to watch for the second or third draft. Everybody's going to look from now on at 6'1", because Tom Brady is definitely going to be thought of every time they talk about it. But think about it. Tom Brady plays 20 years in New England, leaves. Bill Belichick is nothing more than just a mediocre coach. So who needed who more? Well, let's talk about eating humble pie, Bill Belichick, okay? You are, because Tom Brady got another Super Bowl, and you're in disarray and a mediocre coach. So the guy that stands out to me on this list happens to be Tom Brady. Now, what I want to do is backtrack a little bit, because when we look at draft position, okay, and we talk about the biggest draft bust, a lot of them came from the number 2 spot. So for a lot of you folks that are looking at tomorrow's draft, you're going to wonder about the number 2 spot. And then you have to kind of wonder, and in each of these cases, we were looking at quarterbacks taken in that spot. So who wants to be on the hot seat, okay, and take a quarterback at number 2? The history is not favorable for the number 2 selection at the quarterback position. And if you want to know a great example of that, let's go back to Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. Oh, Nelly. All right, so Jeremy, what I want you to do is comment not only in the number 2 situation, but let's go back in time about Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning.
Well, talk about a draft bust. That was the guy Mel Kiper said that Ryan Leaf was smarter than Peyton Manning by leaps and bounds and had a better arm and better mechanics. He said all sorts of glowing things about him. And Mel Kiper looks like that hair helmet is more than a hair helmet.
Right.
It wasn't his brain, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Bill Polian didn't want nothing. Once said it was a tough decision, but he's glad that he went ahead and read through Ryan Leaf and got Peyton Manning, because you make a decision between those two, that gets you lose a job there. So go ahead.
Yeah, but who's to say if it was reversed? The same thing with his brother. If the Giants would have got Rivers, who's to say it didn't work out better? You don't know. There's a lot of pressure on Ryan Leaf. He just didn't handle it well. But maybe, had he gone to Indianapolis, maybe his career would be different. It's a different city, different surroundings. So who knows? That's the great thing about the draft. We have no idea, things would have broken differently, how they would have been.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but in Ryan Leaf's case, he was in San Diego. It's not like they're going to butcher you like they are in New York.
No, but also being in San Diego, you're so relaxed. Maybe being in the Midwest, it would have been a different story.
Right.
Colder weather, can't enjoy life as much. Think about it.
Who knows?
If you're going to enjoy yourself, 80 degrees and sunny every day compared to December in Indianapolis, where are you going to enjoy yourself more?
Hey, you're not getting a San Diego argument out of me. La Jolla is the greatest, my friend. So don't go there.
Exactly. So maybe it changes his, the whole complexion of his career.
No, I know. It's worth putting out there. What about you, Jacob?
Oh, elitist media will always say something like that, especially with Mel Kiper. And because he had a thick Southern accent from Mississippi, and they're saying, oh, they're dumb. Oh, the Southern accent. It's like because they're around New York all the time. They're out in Los Angeles all the time. They think it's a flyover state. But they don't give it a chance to talk because they hear the twang, that, hey, Southern, that's exactly what the Peyton Manning sounds like. But Peyton Manning, give him a minute, he's one of the smartest guys you'll ever meet in your life. And that's where this whole thing came about, is because the media that will blast on Midwesterners and Southerners.
Right.
So they went after that, and guess what? Peyton Manning's way smarter than Ryan Leaf. It wasn't even close.
What's your take on all this, Candy?
I remember one of the biggest number 2 draft busts in Packers history is Tony Mandarich.
Oh, that was horrible.
That was horrible.
Hey, let me go ahead and say a special hello to Jennifer Lee Cobb. Okay, Jen and I are going to be doing some stuff. She appeared a little bit on last night's show with her rightful comments, and her and I talked today. We're going to be working on some projects. So, Jen, thanks for being on here tonight. You always get my wheels turning when we start talking on the phone and coming up with ideas. So, Jen, we're looking forward to seeing you more, and you're going to get an earful when we keep talking and keep making plans to do some great on-air work together. So, all right, go back to Tony Mandarich. I once asked him a question that no journalist in their right mind would have, and the fact that he went out there and followed Barry Sanders, and when I talked to him about being compared to Sanders, they didn't quite like me in that locker room, and I leaned on Freddie Scott instead to get me out of trouble. So, but yeah, Tony Mandarich was definitely a bad pick in number 2, and the Lions got the benefit out of that. So, yeah, but when you, again, like you say, it's a crapshoot. I've covered a lot of drafts. I've covered them with the Miami Dolphins. I've gone ahead and covered them for the Jacksonville Jaguars and a ton of them with Detroit Lions. And I got to tell you, they feed you pretty good. That's for sure. And the Lions fed me better than anybody, but I could afford to go ahead and eat it. Now it's a little bit different. So, all right, one other interesting thing I want to talk about. And now, Candy, what I'm going to want you to do is, after I get done with this, let everybody know they can find us. And we're going to go through the chat room and evaluate everybody's comments. Now, before I go to this final topic, I want to let everybody know that anytime you come in the chat room and contribute, and you're here on a regular basis, you might have an opportunity to come on our show to interact with our commentators. It's something I want to encourage interaction with the show. We love when people come back and tune in. And if you subscribe to the show, the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel, we're going to reward you and give you an opportunity to match wits ends with all of us. So here's the one thing that I want to talk about now. What intrigues you the most about the last 10 number 1 overall picks? We're going to go with 2013, Eric Fisher, the offensive tackle for Kansas City. 24, and he was in 2013. 2014, Jadeveon Clowney, defensive end out of Houston. 2015, Jameis Winston, obviously of Tampa. 2016, Jared Goff of the Rams. 2017, Myles Garrett, defensive end out of Cleveland. 2018, Baker Mayfield of Cleveland. 2019, Kyler Murray, quarterback of Arizona. 2020, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati. 2021, Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville. And last but not least, last year's Trayvon Walker, defensive end, Jacksonville. So, all right, Jeremy, you're going to lead it off. Is there one particular pick that intrigues you the most?
Well, you would have to say, for what he's done and where he went, it was Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Joe Burrow did tons of great things for Cincinnati. He is one of the most accurate quarterbacks coming out of college right now. I guess he has had issues, but that's mostly due to his O-line. But the results are there. He makes the playoffs.
Okay.
And when I do, are we doing parting shots tonight?
I don't know. I doubt it. No, I want to make sure that Jacob and JB get to Confidential on time. But
okay,
we have a lot of topics. But before we go to parting shots, since we're not, we're going to go to the chat room instead after Candy gives let everybody know they get all of us. So JB, go ahead.
So I'm going to just say Myles Garrett because I was intrigued by the pick. Joe Burrow is obviously to be the best out of the group, but Myles Garrett, you know, he had an incident with the Steelers, with Dodgers or whatever the heck the guy's name was, the nobody that the Steelers had a quarterback. Had the opportunity to meet Myles at the Super Bowl 2 years ago. One of the nicest guys in the world. You know, you wouldn't even realize it was him if you didn't know who he was. And he's a great defender. He actually helped turn around that Cleveland defense. And although they're not, you know, where they want to be, a lot of that's on the offense, not on the defense. He's done a great job keeping that line and, you know, getting pressure on the quarterbacks and stopping the running game.
Okay, Jacob.
I'll tell you this, it intrigues me why, but Kyler Murray, and I believe whatsoever Kyler Murray is nowhere near there if Drew Brees didn't have the success that he did. Because to this day, they're still looking for that small guy, the small guy that is, you know, that can throw. They're going to say, oh, they're small. It doesn't matter because Drew Brees had his whole career. So I really believe that one career brought him to the thing. That's the intriguing part.
Candy.
You know, Joe Burrow definitely is one of the most successful out of those. But the one that really intrigues me is Trevor Lawrence, because let's face it, his first year out, he had just a wonderful coach, didn't he? And then to bounce
best coach ever.
Well, and then to have to bounce back to have the year that he did last year and take his team all the way to the playoffs. That takes a lot. He's young. So, I mean, he hasn't had as long of a career as some of those. But that's the one that really intrigues me.
All right, you know what? I'm going to go double down what JB Ellis said. I like Myles Garrett. And the reason why I like Myles Garrett is he told the Cleveland Browns, if you do not take me, you will regret it. And, you know, so he's really literally inviting himself to say, take me, I want to go there, and I will make sure you make the right pick. And he did. Another one I actually like in this group is actually Jared Goff, that, you know, he ended up taking the Rams to a Super Bowl, maybe not in the flashy manner for which Stafford did. But, you know, I like Jared Goff, and he's been a solid player in Detroit, a good quarterback, and he's appreciated there. So now that JB's back on screen, I'm going to go back to what I just said moments ago.
Great minds think alike. I agree
when you
with
say Jared Goff, I held the number up 3 for that Super Bowl for one reason. 2 drops by Brandon Cooks and 1 drop by the tight end in the end zone.
Okay, good. Now back to my point. Thank you very much for adding that piece of information. Really appreciate it. But yeah, you know what? I like Myles Garrett. You know, and it gets back to what I was mentioning with the Houston Texans approach at number 2. Okay, if you don't find a quarterback, there's nothing wrong with finding a defensive player that's going to give you 10 to 12 years. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's what you need to do. If you don't feel that there's a decent quarterback out there, don't burn the darn pick for the sake of taking a player that, you know, may not quite fit the nod. Give Davis Love or Davis Mills, I think it is, right? Well, I was thinking tennis. Okay.
Love golf.
Yeah, all right. And not Jordan Love and Josh Love of Michigan Panthers, but whatever. But and who would know Josh Love? Nobody, unless the Lions take him. But my point is this, going back to what JB Ellis said. I like Myles Garrett, Jared Goff, obviously. You give him enough targets. You saw the Lions came on. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Lions. Do they even pick a quarterback? And a couple names that I've heard that have been linked to the Lions could either be Max Dugan or Hendon Hooker too. So those are guys that people might want to watch out for later. So those are the things. So I'm going to go back to reiterate, JB. I agree with you 100% about Myles Garrett. Jared's off there. So, Candy, what I want you to do now is I want you to go let everybody know how they can find us. And then what we're going to do is do a little different exercise after that. I feel we've covered a lot of ground. We're going to go back to the chat room and we're going to highlight some of the key ones and everybody will comment on them for the next 10 minutes or so. So go ahead, Candy.
So if you see that red subscribe button, it's sitting in the corner by JB Ellis there. Hit it, like it, subscribe to us. Share us with all your friends. Anybody that you think would be interested in listening to our Sports Exchange, Inside the Pigskin, 108 Stitches Baseball Talk, Fire Up Michigan, Fire Up Florida, Fire Up Wisconsin, No Limits. You name it, we've got it. Subscribe to our channel. Go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. If you have ideas or you want to advertise, you want to email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you like to listen to us, you want to hear us on anywhere you get your podcast, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, Spotify, any of those places. We want 1,000 subscribers to YouTube, so subscribe. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott, 954-304-4941. You can find us live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. Scott?
Okay. Candy, what I want you to do is let's scroll up there and start picking out a few key comments that stand out. Everybody will get a crack at talking about them. Okay. And then we have another 10 minutes or so left in the show. So
let's see. Keegan wrote quarterback Bryce Young and a Lamar trade isn't happening now that the Ravens picked up OBJ for Lamar.
All right, go ahead. Put them up on the screen so we can see them. All right. What do you think, Jeremy?
Not only that, there's a rumor that the Ravens are in on getting, what's his name from the Cardinals?
Hopkins?
Yeah. They're one of the leading candidates to get him because they're offering money and draft compensation.
Okay.
So if they do that, I don't think Lamar's getting traded anywhere. I think he'll stay to play because he'll finally have valid targets.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do, Candy's going to head and read another one, and we'll let one of our commentators answer that question.
Let's see. What? Go ahead, Jacob. What were you going to say?
To me, if they do get rid, it's what I thought in the first place. I think you're going to be trading one. I think it's going to be a situation of trading one megastar for basically another. If you're going to do something like that in the first place, otherwise, no, they're not going to go get another draft pick or go Tyler Huntley. They're not going to do that. So they're not going to do that. So that's just what it is. You know, it's like if you're going to get rid of Lamar Jackson, you're going to get a star to face him to replace him. So that's the way it would go. Otherwise, he sticks.
Okay. All right, Candy, what else you got out there? And yes, Jennifer Cobb, thanks for the kind words. We appreciate you, Jen.
So Josh was saying, how about the Panthers so far tonight? As of right now, they are tied 3-3 with 3:40 left in the third. The Bruins lead the series 3-1. So the Panthers are holding on, but they got to score to win it to keep the series going.
All right, Joshua, he's been on every night this week. He's on a roll. He won't be on tomorrow because we'll all be watching the NFL draft. So go ahead, Candy.
So Keegan says Texans will try to get Lance.
Okay. Who wants to take a crack at this one?
I don't know. I think that'd be a bad move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think Treylance is made to be quarterback in the NFL.
And also,
what I saw from last year. And to be honest with you, there's I would say 3 out of the 5 quarterbacks this year are going to be NFL ready. Out of the 5 first rounders, and you're the number 2 pick, take a shot. That's why you're so bad. You were horrible. Do something to give your fans hope.
All right, Candy. I I want you to mention to this crew, we had a show on Monday night on Inside the Pigskin. I think it was Corey Curtis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Corey Curtis is a young guy here from Southwest Florida. This kid here is slated to actually go in a mock draft to the Dallas Cowboys. So watch out for this name here on the draft boards. He could be
I feel sorry for the guy.
Yeah, me too.
Nobody wants to go to the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, you know what? I'd like to see Corey Curtis go somewhere.
Well, you know what? If he goes there, I hope he lights it up and becomes the best Cowboy of the year. And he plays well 15 of the 17 games. He could take 2 games off.
Yeah, the first 2 that Dak starts before he's hurt again.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but this Corey kid's a dynamite young guy. He really is. And he led off our draft week coverage with Mel, myself, and George, and we had a great time. And I hope that you guys will have an opportunity down the road to meet this kid because he's the most level-headed kid. And he started actually at Ohio State under Ryan Day and sat behind Stroud. And, of course, he transferred to a couple of Division II schools, got playing time. And I can tell you the one thing, don't count out those smaller schools' influence when you start to see some of these quarterbacks get selected in the later rounds or undrafted free agents. Because you know what? We talked about undrafted free agents earlier in this show. Well, you never know what hidden gems are going to come out of it. Go ahead, Cam.
Well, and we've always talked about Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, too, so you never know.
Hey, Scott, one thing I got to get done right now before I go to Confidential. I got something to get done with this. I know you got a couple minutes left, but I got to get something done before I go to Confidential, so I got to get going.
All right, so with that said, why don't you let everybody know how they can reach you real quick, and then we'll continue on with JB for a couple minutes.
Sunday nights, Basket Bros. Monday nights, Pundit Views. Got another great interview Monday. Tuesdays, I'm off. Wednesdays, these 3 shows. Pundit. This one here, and then Confidential. Thursday nights, yin and yang once in a while, just depending when we come back. Friday nights, When They Need Me, Gauntlet, and then go on. And then also working on a couple movies eventually.
Very good. All right, well, Jacob, thanks for being on tonight.
I'll see you soon, JB.
And
see you in a couple.
See you on Sunday night. All right, and now there are 4, okay? But there is more in the chat room, Candy. So any other ones that stand out before we call it a night in a couple of minutes?
I like this one. Kurtwarner went from bagging groceries to a Super Bowl winner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean.
And one of the nicest human beings in the world.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and he won that championship under Dick Vermeil, so.
Can't be all bad.
Yeah, right.
Kept saying a lot about Bosa. He was a beast before he got hurt. He was a captain of the 49ers. They're also giving love to Mahomes. Wins 2 Super Bowls. Let's see. Big Ben was playing at a good level before Mahomes even entered the league.
I'll tell you, this Keegan Eckert is a sharp character, Jeremy. I like his comments. He'll be coming on a future edition with us in the next few weeks or so once I get the schedule reorganized. Go ahead.
Brady is the GOAT.
Pretty hard to argue against that. Okay.
Leaf was such a huge bust and had a lot of off-field issues.
Okay. All right. Well, join the obvious club. All right.
2016 draft, 2 quarterbacks go number 1 and 2, Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has been a bust his whole career.
Except for that year that he was playing at an MVP level until he got hurt.
Oh, he would have blew it in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's a choker. He has no mental fortitude.
Well, let me tell you, when Candy and I were over at the Jacksonville Jaguars, Indianapolis Colts game, boy, that was, you know what? He actually didn't play that badly when Matt Ryan got waxed. Then, it was worse, but he had it right in their pocket. He had Frank Reich there who worked with him in Philadelphia. When that dynamic didn't work out, then, you wonder where his next opportunity would come. That was squandered with Washington with Ron Rivera. So
he's still
go ahead.
He's still suffering from PTSD when Nick Foles stole his thunder and won a Super Bowl.
Well, at least he's got a ring, though. So, all right. Any other ones worthwhile, Candy?
I agree. Burrow led them Bengals to the Super Bowl, but was a phenomenal college player, and he won a championship game and won the Heisman.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule out Burrow winning a Super Bowl at some point. This kid here is when it talks about maturity, to me, I really, really, really like Joe Burrow without a doubt. So he's won everywhere. I think the Bengals will get a championship at some point.
I just wish he didn't look like an adult version of Macaulay Culkin.
I was waiting for the off-the-wall comment of the night somewhere. I really was. Macaulay Culkin on a sports exchange. All right, go ahead, JB.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I'm not fond of what Jacksonville's doing. I think that they had a good year, but I'm not thinking that they're going to go anywhere in the future. That we've seen this before, you know. And I'm not sold on Peterson.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, you know what, folks? I want to just thank everybody in the chat room: Jennifer Cobb, Keegan Ecker, Will Vogel. Who else am I forgetting? George Eichhorn,
Ralph Williams.
Ralph Williams.
Felicity Jean. Yeah, Keegan. Yeah, that sounds about
And Jennifer Lee Cobb.
Yep.
So want to thank everybody's participation here in the chat room, and those that continue to participate will be with us on the air. So Candy, with that said, we're going to let JB go in a moment to Confidential. But JB, before you do that, okay, why don't you let everybody know how they can get a hold of you?
So JB_the program on Twitter. Sideline Sports every Tuesday, here on Wednesday. Confidential coming up at 10 o'clock. Lots of stuff going on. We got John Shear and James Tatum at the draft. They'll be doing some live content coming up there. A lot of great stuff coming out of Sideline Sports. Make sure you're watching and paying attention. And always a pleasure working here with the South Florida Tribune. Great partners.
Yeah, you guys really are unbelievable partners. All the contributors that we've had on your end, and vice versa. I think it's a partnership that I'm so excited that we continue to build on every second. JB's always dealing with me 5 to 7 days a week, so he probably needs.
Poor man.
Right?
I really feel bad for Ellis, man.
I understand your struggle,
deal with me. He does, but he's one of those few cats out there that could actually handle it well. And I look at JB as not only a partner, but a true friend in every sense of the word. So, and we have a lot of big things in store. Listen, this is only April. We got another 8 months or so. JB, I mean, this guy gets an earful for me. He does deserve a gold medal, but JB will be off to Confidential. And we'll see you next Wednesday on the Sports Exchange, and you'll be hearing from me a whole lot more. I know that tell them about your upcoming move real quickly.
Oh, no, we're going to keep that off the air.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
Well, that's okay. All I know is we're moving in the right direction.
Exactly.
That's good enough.
All right, guys.
All right.
Have a good one, JB.
All right, JB. Have a good Confidential. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
Right.
Have a great night. Talk to you later.
You bet. All right. And Jeremy, go ahead. Let everybody know they get a hold of you, man.
All right. You can get a hold of me right here at the SouthFloridaTribune.com and the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. But at the SouthFloridaTribune.com, you can look underneath the hashtag where it says Motor City Tribune. You'll find me under the list of authors with Scott Morganroth and George Eichhorn. And I think even Candy's name is mentioned in there at one point or another. That being said, you can also find me at my channel, which is Kneecap Biting with Smoking Jeremy B, which I'm going live at 10:30 tonight. We're having the Smoking Jeremy B's 2023 Macapalooza.
All right. Well, very good. All right. One more time, Candy, on the final. Let everybody know how they get a hold of us.
Well, if you enjoyed my participation in the show, you would love to see our Chicks and Salsa on Tuesday nights at 7:30, or we do Three Chicks in a Pod, 7:30 Tuesday nights. But if you like this episode and you would like Inside the Pigskin, you got to go listen to our Inside the Pigskin with our draft prospect, with Melfar Jr., a former NFL player, giving tips to a prospect. You got to go listen to the show. It was an awesome show, like many of our other ones. But at this point, you see that little red button next to Jeremy. Like it, subscribe to us, share it, tell all your friends about it. If you want to advertise, or if you want to sponsor a show, call Scott at 954-304-4941. You can also email him at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. You never know, if you're commenting in the comment section, we might ask you to be the next guest on one of our episodes. If you like to listen to podcasts, listen to iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, but listen to South Florida Tribune. We're striving for 1,000 subscribers. Go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. You can see all kinds of content. We get content from the Dolphins, the Jaguars, the Lions. We get content from Jeremy, from George Eichhorn. Scott writes from us. I take pictures. I don't write. I take pictures. I also manage the website, though, as well. But we also have colleges that send us content. We have the Florida Gators. We have FAU. They made the Final Four. You could go see stories. You can go see interviews that we have up on them from them. We have Nova. We have the Hurricanes, and they're coming up. We had their spring media day. Go see our videos and our website. You're missing out if you haven't been on them. Why are you waiting?
And we got one more comment under the wire, so put it up there, Candy. Travis Holmes, one of our commentators for Inside the Pigskin. Go ahead.
Fanatic Jacks fan, and definitely agree with JB. I will be a believer if I can see it for a full season this coming year and a solid, bulky draft. Jacks had a great second half of the 2023, but no promise that rolls over into a full 2024.
Or I should point out tomorrow that I will be posting on social media my show that I did with Travis Holmes, Chris Pirtle, and Kyle Nash on social media for Fire Up Florida. We talked about the Jacksonville Jaguars. That will be going up on social media tomorrow. So thanks for chiming in at the very end, Travis. So meanwhile, I hope everybody enjoys the NFL draft. There will be no live broadcast tomorrow, as we will be watching it, but we hope you have an opportunity to listen and watch the show again. I know it was my goal here tonight was to provide you with as much information as I could, different patterns that may exist in the draft. And I'll reiterate one more time, watch out for that number 2 pick, because as I've mentioned time and time again on the show, that is a wild card. Okay. So we'll see where the quarterback go, the number 2 pick. But meanwhile, on behalf of Jacob Christner, JB Ellis, Smoking Jeremy B, Candy Ebling, and everybody in the chat room, Jennifer Lee, Jennifer Cobb, and the rest, my name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Sports Exchange, and we will catch you on the next episode of the SE, the Sports Exchange. So you have yourself a great time, everybody, over the weekend watching the draft. And also, let's look forward to those hidden gems on rounds 2 and 3. Good night, everybody.